April 19th here in southern Ontario, Canada. Join me as we go down this rabbit hole because it leads into the rat's warren, as all rabbit holes do. Forgive me, I'm just racked up at home with a broken rib and just bundled up staying warm. Anyways, what I'm talking about is b.r.i.c.s. You may have heard this acronym. It's the new global finance alliance, replacing the US dollar as the currency of world trade. Russia, China, India, and a bunch of the players over there have been trading in their own money, not using the US dollar as conventionally. So, this rabbit hole, b.r.i.c.s, the acronym stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. How does Brazil come to be number one in this? Well, it's not just to make the acronym work. However, Brazil's stated objective is to circumvent the US dollar. Well, indeed, this whole b.r.i.c.s alliance is exactly it. These aforementioned 5 countries that comprise the b.r.i.c. acronym are banding together and want to make one currency. So, Brazil's president, his name's Da Silva, he just signed 15 bilateral agreements with China as regards trade in this money business. Now, Da Silva is WEF. And it should, well, it's convoluted. Stick with me. Brazil is the largest economy in South America and is not to be underestimated in the big global picture. I'm not going to get into GDPs and what countries, billions and trillions. We're not going to go there. But Brazil's like half of the South American continent, right? Now it gets even weirder. So this new b.r.i.c.s bank is located in Shanghai, China. The president of the b.r.i.c.s bank is the ex-Brazilian prime minister. Huh? Oh, yeah. Well, make of that what you will. Another 20 countries have publicly announced they'd like to join this b.r.i.c.s alliance. Just to name a few: Turkey, Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, Egypt. South Africa's already joined the alliance, of course. This is kind of interesting. Mexico wants in. They've stated they want to be part of the b.r.i.c.s alliance. What happened to the NAFTA agreement, North American Free Trade Alliance between Mexico, the US, and Canada? Yeah, well, loyalties are short-lived, I guess. So moving along, we come to France. Now, they're a big player in the European Union economy, right? Their president, Macron, who is WEF graduate, he just returned last Thursday from signing a bunch of agreements. Well, he bent his knee to the Chinese emperor and came back. He'd signed all these agreements. In part, one of them is saying that he supports China and not Taiwan, who's a democracy. Well, we know what that rabbit hole in the South Pacific is all about. So anyways, Macron's bending his knee to the Chinese emperor really outraged the US, the UK, Australia, and most of the European Union. But let's not forget, Macron is WEF. At the same time he was in China, his country is protesting big time, on the verge of rioting. In fact, on the Thursday he returned, last Thursday from now, there was a big kerfuffle with what was happening in his parliament but he was off in China. This was more important to him. Anyways, when Macron returned, he said to the French peasantry, I don't care about your protests. They have 100 days to adapt and accept the pressing ahead of new reforms. WEF again. So you see how this little tangled web, all these rabbit holes, all come down to the WEF and China being in cahoots. Strange, eh? Well, it's not strange. But anyways, in the U.S., Sleepy Joe Brandon has responded with the utterly empty threat of sanctions, more sanctions. Any country that's going to join this b.r.i.c.s thing, he's going to put sanctions on them. Sanctions. Yeah, that worked real well when you tried it last year, Joe. You said you were going to turn the Russian ruble into rubble, and it's doubled in value. So the United States is left. I mean, if we think about it, look on a globe. I'm sure. Sorry, I don't have the tech to call that up. But over there, on the other side of the world, from here in Canada and the U.S., we've got Russia, China, India, the Arab oil states, South Africa, and what else did I mention? Egypt, and a bunch of other countries. I mean, basically all of the African continent. Again, think of your map. The African continent up across China, Russia, a big part of the globe. Then we go over to South America. Brazil and Argentina has stated they want in on this deal. That's the big hunk of, it's the bulk of South America going into the b.r.i.c.s agreement, back to the new bank in Shanghai, China. And Klaus Schwab has stated he's very delighted that Argentina is already totally WEF. Whoa. So where does this leave us here in Canada? One of only 6 countries in the world that have no gold. Well, Trudeau's too stupid as to have not been exposed, caught out, in fact, with both the Communist Chinese Party, money into our elections. He stated he admires them, etc., etc. His WEF connection is clear. He's a graduate of the Young Global Leaders program. Our Vice Prime Minister, Chrystia Freeland, sits on the board of directors at the WEF. Canada? Well, can you say Sri Lanka? So I know it was a convoluted tale, but all rabbit holes lead to the rat's warren. I'm going to do a couple of more videos tying all that together. Have a good day, folks.